Hey, my name's James Nicholson and welcome to this YouTube channel. Now in this video we're going to talk about what you need to do to become a property investor. Now before we jump into that, this channel is having some incredible growth at the moment. We're currently at 3,000 subscribers and we're on a journey to 5,000 subscribers, and I'd like to ask you to help me get to that 5,000 number very quickly. Take that finger of power, spin it round and smash that subscribe button over there and hit the bell notification. It'll take 2 seconds. And also, we're on 50,000 views a month, which is absolutely insane to me. Thank you for everyone that watches our content. So how you can help me get a few more views on the content is, again, take that finger of power, smash that like button. Just do it quickly. I'll wait while it turns blue. So I want to talk to you today about how to become a property investor. Now, I'm going to talk about all different levels because I understand some of you have got very little money to invest, so we need to help you guys get on with that journey. And some of you maybe have a very high paid job, or you've got some inheritance, or maybe you've got an existing property and you want to release some equity from that. So let's discuss that as well. So stick around and we'll cover all of those options, so make sure you watch to the end. So let's just say you are starting out in property, or you're interested in starting out in property, and you've seen all these adverts on YouTube, haven't you? No money down deals and how you can get a property for zero. Well, the problem with that is that's not quite true. You see, there is always some costs to getting a property. Now, there are such things as low money down, or you could get a deal where you get your money back relatively quickly. So let's discuss how that will work. So let's just say you're in a bracket here and you have around £1,000 to invest. I'm quite impressed with that. That's the neatest handwriting I've ever had on one of these videos. So let's just say you had £1,000 to invest. Now, clearly, you're going to have limited options. So you're not going to be able to go and buy a £10 million house if you've got £1,000. And it's going to be difficult to do a standard buy-to-let. So on a standard buy-to-let, you will be investing 25% of the value of the house. So if it's a 100 grand house, you need to put in 25 grand. You don't quite have that here. So what could you do? Well, there's one strategy that you have that can be very, very good. And that's called lease options, right? Lease options. So what is a lease option? Well, a lease option is where you can secure a property today for just £1 and buy that property in the future. So you would take control of the property for just £1, right? That's all you need to be able to do this. So how does that work? And how do you find these deals? So what would for this to work, it needs to have someone that doesn't need the money today, right? So they might want to just sell the property and get on with their lives. Now, who wouldn't need the money today? Well, it could be someone that's in negative equity. So all they're really concerned about is someone taking the mortgage payment liability away from them, right? Because maybe they got a mortgage that's £300 a month and it's really getting on top of them. They're struggling to pay that. And so they want someone to take that off them. It could be someone that's about to get repossessed, or it could be someone that just doesn't have another deal to go into yet. There's various different reasons why somebody might do this. Now, lease options are difficult in the south of England. And the reason for that is because in the south of England, prices go up so much. And so people won't necessarily need that slow transaction here. So what we would say with a lease option is somebody might have a house that's worth £100,000, or let's just say they want £100,000 for that house. And maybe the house price is dropped, so they're in negative equity. So their house is only worth £90,000. Now they can market that with the best estate agent in the world, but if the house is only worth 90, very unlikely to find someone that will pay you 100 for that. Does that make sense? So what you can do is you can say, look, I'll give you the £100,000, but will complete on the transaction in 7 years from now. Now, during those 7 years, you'll immediately take on the mortgage payments, the maintenance payments, anything that needs doing on the property, and then you'll rent the property out, right? So now you're going to be the landlord of the property. And what you need to secure that is £1, right? So you need to do a legal contract for £1. Now, it will cost a little bit more than that because you need to get a solicitor to draw up the correct paperwork for you. So that's where we're looking at around maybe £1,000 to do that kind of deal. So lease options are a good option. Let's have a look at another strategy you could do. This is quite popular at the moment. Rent to rent. Okay, so rent to rent is where you're going to rent a property and then you're going to rent it out to other people. So this wouldn't work if you say got a 2-bedroom house and you rented it for 500 and then you rented it to someone else for 550. There's not enough money in that to work. So what would normally happen is you would rent an apartment maybe, and then you would rent it out on Airbnb, right? Now that only happens with permission, and we can help you with how you can get these kind of deals. But this needs to have permission, because if you don't get the right contract in place, it's called subletting, which is illegal, right? So you need to do it the right way. It is quite easy to get it sorted. So you're going to rent the property out and then you're going to rent it on Airbnb. Or maybe you could rent a house, and maybe you could rent a house for 1,000 and then you could rent the rooms out for 500 each. And you might have 3 bedrooms upstairs, 2 reception rooms, a dining room and a living room downstairs that you could turn into bedrooms. Then you could rent it out for 500 each and get 2,500. You're going to pay rent. Then you've got to pay the bills of around 500 and keep roughly £1,000 profit. So those are two lower options if you don't have tons of money. But let's just say you have got a deposit. So what do you guys want to do? So let's just say you have got 25 grand. Now, how could you get 25 grand? Well, you could borrow it. You could borrow it from an investor and pay them a return. That's one way to do it. Or you could maybe have a property already and release some of that equity from that property. That would be a smart move as well. And that's how I started my investment moving forward. So, and that's how I do a lot of my deals, is I refinance my properties, and then at that time I take out some equity and go and buy somewhere else. Because it's quite hard to save 25 grand. I know some of you can do it, but for a lot of us, it's quite hard, right? So the easiest way is to leverage assets that we've got. So let's just say you've got £25,000. Now, if you get a buy-to-let in a good area where rents are good and stuff like that, so you need to really look at the Midlands to the north at the moment for this to work. They will lend you 75% of the value of the property, meaning you can roughly get £100,000 property. Now, there's other costs that you've got to bear in mind, things like stamp duty, things like solicitors and stuff like that. So I'm just going to talk in roundabout numbers here just to make it easy. So this would allow you to buy a £100,000 house. And then that £100,000 house, you can do things to make more money. So you could add value to the property, couldn't you? Right? You could add value to the property. So how you could do that is you could do something like adding additional bedrooms, do a refurbishment, adding an extension. That's one way that we do it. I've got a studio flat that I turned into a 1-bedroom. I've got a 1-bedroom flat that I turned into 2-bedroom. That adds value. And when you do that, the house is going to be worth more. The mortgage company will lend you 75% of that value. So you can take that money out and go and get a second property, right? Now, maybe you don't want to do that. You just want an easy life. So you could buy your £100,000 house. And what happens in the UK, on average, every 10 years, house prices double in value, don't they? Right? Think about this. Ask your parents or your grandparents, if you're fortunate to still have them, how much did they pay for their house? It's going to be some crazy amount, like £2,000 or something like that. Your kids will look back on this, and whatever you paid for a house, 100 grand, that will seem like nothing one day, because inflation keeps rising. That's important to understand, right? So if you had a 25 grand budget here, you bought a 100 grand house, in 10 years from now, this house would now be worth £200,000. Now, you would have bought this as an investor on an interest-only mortgage, so you won't be paying off any of the debt. You'll have had a £75,000 mortgage on this because you'll have put, the house is worth 100, but you put 25 in, the mortgage company put 75 in. So you owe the mortgage company still 75, but in 10 years, the house is now worth 200. So the mortgage company, you could get a new mortgage, refinance this. Then they're going to say to you, right, what we'll do is we'll put £150,000 mortgage onto this property, right? Meaning you can borrow 150, right? So you can borrow 150. You already owe 75, right? So that gives you £75,000 extra. Now you've got £75,000 in your pocket, which is your next deposit. You could just very easily, houses are now £200,000 because the market's gone up, just buy 2 houses. And you could have two £200,000 houses that are going up in value, right? Which is really, really powerful. Now, also as an investor, you need to consider things like tax. And what's really important as an investor is that you set this up in an efficient way. And if you're looking to build a portfolio these days, the best way to do that is to buy through a limited company. That allows you to pass the properties on to your loved ones when you pass away, your kids or whoever, like friends or family, in a tax efficient way. So they're not going to pay inheritance tax, which is really, really important. So those are a few things that you can do to get started in property investing. You know what? We've got more than 250 videos on this channel now. So if you didn't earlier, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell, and go and binge watch all the content on this channel. You'll be shocked at what you can learn on here. We've got some really, 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 really powerful stuff. Do like this video, guys. Any questions you've got, post them below. And then while you're done, go and check out this video right here.